Hello viewers and welcome to my new video. In today's video I'm going to be talking to you about how to book a DIY tour. But before I do that, if you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button so you get notified every time I post a new video, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Okay, so let's get to it. Basically, I've been in DIY bands for quite some time, I've been playing in various bands for probably actually over 20 years now, so I've got quite a lot of experience in this, and booking sort of gigs, going for promoters, doing all these various things. So if that's something that you are interested in, stick around and stick till the end, so you will find out quite a lot about that. So the first thing, in the modern era, because everything really becomes sort of easier these days because of the internet, and I used to book things sort of liaising with people pre-internet era, so I've got sort of experience in both sides of the coin, really. And when it comes to the internet, the internet has made everything really easy in that respect. And why that is because you can find all these people all over the world, whether that be in the country where you're in, or somewhere abroad, or in your town or another town. It sort of becomes easier. Now, I'm not saying that necessarily that means that you will always get a gig because you've messaged somebody or you've done something like that, but these abilities exist. A lot of that has to do with who you are and whether people know you maybe from somewhere else, but you can always try and promote your band to get those gigs. So I'm going to use a specific example of my own band at the time called Manifest. When I was actually booking a tour in Europe, which was like a 7-day, over a week-long tour. So this is what I effectively did at the time. I mainly used Facebook for this purpose, but I can tell you that these days you can try and use other social media platforms, because many people these days are, for example, on Instagram, some people even on TikTok perhaps. So the thing that you will need is you will need contacts. So we're talking here DIY scene, DIY bookings, so it's probably unlikely that you're just going to get and I know that some people do that for other things, that you can sort of buy things, you can buy certain contacts and things like that. Well, this is unlikely that you can actually get that if you are doing all you do is deal with the DIY scene. So you need to get to those people in each individual town or city. Say for example you are planning a tour and you are thinking, okay, so I'm gonna be starting here. So in our example, say it would be we sort of set off from Manchester in the UK, sort of have to go to Dover, to the port of Dover, to kind of get a ferry over to get us over to France, and sort of the first date would be in Amsterdam. And then we would be kind of and then from there we'll be going, say, through Germany, doing a couple of dates there, that kind of thing, and then coming back through Belgium, and so effectively, first of all, obviously you would kind of map it all out, you'd know sort of your rough journey, and that gives you an idea of how far you want to travel, what are the major places on your route. So, for example, what are the major cities, key cities, towns, things like that, where you perhaps will find a scene, and then that is sort of your starting point. So this is exactly what I did. Now, the second part is, okay, so you could ask, so again, if you already know some other bands who may have already been on tour in some of these or gigged in some of these places, and of course that is a great idea to in the first place ask, so have you got any contacts, could you share with me, that kind of thing. And often people are very willing to do that. Some people might not be as willing, because they may be thinking, oh, I've put all this work now to give somebody something for free. But I don't believe in that. That's not my attitude. But anyway, so you can get that from people if they've already been in those places, and that's great. But say you don't know anybody who has been in the places where you want to play. Well, for example, on Facebook, there are, let me start from saying this, there are a lot of music groups. So the way that I did it, and at that time, when I was booking those gigs, I was in a hardcore punk band. Okay, so that was a very specific genre, so I knew that what I was aiming at. So whether that be playing on a squad or in a club or in a venue somewhere, but I had to get to this sort of underground DIY community in each of these places. Okay, so how did I do that? Well, I firstly started basically by simply going on Facebook and in a search, typing something like, for example, if I wanted to play a gig in Hamburg in Germany, I would type something like Hamburg hardcore or Hamburg hardcore scene or Hamburg punk scene or that kind of thing, or a combination of both. So I'd be doing those searches. And usually, what you will find is that there are groups that exist in those, especially major cities or bigger towns, that evolve around or revolve around that kind of music, that specific genre. Okay. Now, what I did then, say I found a group, and in that group, people would be listing gigs. Okay, so so from one thing leads to the next. So you will basically see that specific gig promoters will advertise those gigs on those groups, because this is for them, this is advertisement, and of course they kind of letting people know, oh, I'm organizing this gig, so they want obviously as many people to come to their gig as possible. Now, this is exactly what I did. So I put together a spreadsheet. Okay, so this is really important that you actually document this as you go along. One thing is, because you will be spending quite a long time on this. This is not just like a 5-minute job, okay? Especially if you want to plan like a larger tour or longer, even if it's just a week, if you don't know anybody, if you don't have any contacts, it will take you some time, So first you need to gather all the info. So you need to document this, because otherwise what will happen is you will forget who you found, you will forget who you've messaged, and that kind of thing. So I've devised a spreadsheet at the time, and in that spreadsheet I would have effectively columns such as the name of the place, the name of the promoter, key contact that I found for them, links. So any links, like I would do like hyperlinks, so it was easy for me then, because I would just click on it, it would take me to that page again in case I needed to find it quick, so I didn't have to like go through like search again and a number of times, and then the last thing that I would record in there was whether or not I've already contacted them, and what the reply was, whether there was a reply at all, and then if so, what the reply actually was. Okay, so that way, anytime I looked at it, I knew who I have already contacted, who's come back to me, who hasn't come back to me, what they've actually said, whether they've offered me the gig or not, and so on and so forth. So this is really important. Actually, when you do that, document it and keep some kind of a record of what you've already done. Okay. Okay, so let me move on. So in those groups, I would find those gigs, and then through those gigs, I would find who put them on. Once I've identified that particular promoter, for example, on Facebook, there would be a person on Facebook, right, with an account. So you can basically message anybody on Facebook. You can just send them a message on Facebook Messenger, and that's exactly what I did. Now, what is really important here also is when you write such a message, you want this message to sound quite personable, because the last thing that you want to do is for that person to think that you're just sending a blanket message, basically, that you wrote and you just send it en masse to anybody and everybody. That it doesn't sound personalized, it doesn't sound kind of that you are talking to them directly. It just like it basically looks lazy, if you've done it that way. But to overcome that, because obviously you have to send a lot of these messages, because you will be met with a lot of rejection, and you will be met with a lot of rejection. You will be met with a lot of people saying to you, oh, unfortunately on that date I can't do it. If it was 2 months later or 2 months earlier, that's fine, but actually that date you've given me, no way, right? Because I'm away or something else is happening or that kind of thing. So you need to be prepared. This is hard work, this is not like an easy quick fix. So you need to be prepared for that, which is another advice that I'm going to give you. If you want to do that, you really need to start planning early. Okay, you need to give yourself months in advance, because if you kind of work backwards from where you want to be, so you want to play that tour, say you want to play that tour, I don't know, in June, okay? Say we're in June now, when I'm filming this video. It's June 2022. So for example, if I wanted to play that tour in a year's time, in June 2023, I would probably start already. I would, maybe 12 months sometimes might be too early, because sometimes people might be, oh, I'm not thinking about that yet, or I'm not booking for those months yet. But I would recommend to leave at least 9 months in advance, to start to actually be successful with this. Okay, so you start sending, so you find these people, you find their accounts, and you start sending them messages. Now, going back to what I was saying before, make your message sound personal, like you are talking and appealing to that person. Make it sound like you actually really, really want to play in that particular city or town, because I don't know, because you've heard how great the venue is, or you've heard how great the scene is over there, or whatever, that might be. But, you need to just show them that you actually care, because if you don't care about your own thing and about what you're doing, then nobody else is going to do that. Nobody else is going to care about you if you don't care, and you don't show them sort of enough respect, So that's really key, how you communicate. Yes, you can make shortcuts, and, you can write a message, which I also did, because it saves you time in the long run. But if you like a message, if you are smart about it, write a message that sounds quite personal, but you can send that same message to various people. But of course, then you need to kind of replace, the name of the person. You need to replace the town or city. Never make a mistake to send the wrong sort of place just to, copy and paste the same message. So that's really key. So effectively, you find these people, you message them, and you wait for the reply. Sometimes they will never reply and they will never get back to you. So you have to be quite resilient, actually. You need to kind of, have that mindset. Never mind, I'm just gonna message the next person. So you find as many people, as many venues as possible. So that's another thing. Actually, you can message individual particular promoters, but you can also message venues. You will also find them all on these groups often. So message the venues directly. Sometimes you can message some shops as well if you find them, that kind of thing. So it's like, I don't know, there was a time when I messaged Cortex, like in Berlin, for example, just kind of, it's like a big kind of hardcore shop, just asking them about stuff, because sometimes they put gigs on, and I've seen that, and they replied to me, okay, we can't do it, but there are some venues, and they've given me some tips, which I didn't have before. So it's like, then I could message those venues. So so it's things like that. You find these people, you message them, you wait for their reply. These days, it also could be on Instagram, doesn't have to be necessarily on Facebook. Wherever and when you can find them, that's probably the easiest way to contact these people. Important thing is to have something to showcase, to show for yourself. So effectively, you don't just want to send them a message. You need to send them something that is going to grab their attention. So if you think that your music is good, there's something of value that you can offer, ideally what you would do, you would maybe send one music video that they can watch. People love videos, not everybody is going to be listening to your albums or whatever. If you send them a link to Bandcamp or SoundCloud or whatever, Spotify, they might not have the time to listen to your entire album. Send them your best song, send them your music video, maybe accompany that with a live video. That would be really good if you could actually showcase how you perform, you know. So if your band is good on stage, you know, if there's like, you know, crowd participation and people, you know, having a good time, include that. Send all necessary links, you know. Always be polite, you know. If somebody sends you a message back and tells you they cannot do it for you, or maybe they might say, oh, I can't do it on this occasion, but maybe in the future, or some people just say, no, sorry. Always be polite, say thank you, reply to them, thank you very much, you know, I understand you can't make it, you know. It's kind of, it builds that trust, and it builds that relationship with that person, even if at this moment in time they're not able to offer you something. They might be able to offer you something in the future. Never discard that. Always be polite, always treat people with respect, you know, and that way, you know, you will go a long way. You know, so that's really important. So effectively, this is how you do it. You've, like I said, find as many promoters as possible. Send as many messages as you can. That probably goes into maybe even hundreds of messages for every town, every city. Try and find as many promoters, as many venues as you can. Send the messages early, you know, and that way, out of say 100 messages that you've sent or more, you will get, I don't know, a percentage of people who will reply to you. Out of those, a lot of people will say no, and then there will be individuals who will say yes, and they will give you that chance, and that's what you've got to take, and you've got to utilize that. So yeah, this is how you do it. This is, I think, how you book a DIY tour. If you don't have any contacts, that's how you build them. Okay, so thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.